Doctor Who is one of my favourite shows of all time. With Series 13 currently filming and Chibnall's era of the show not being super well received, I wanted to talk about some ideas I had of how Chris Chibnall could possibly fix the show and make it actually watchable and decent. So without further ado and no further interruption, let's do this. So the first point I want to make is don't overcrowd everything. This is one of the more bigger points I wanted to make for this video. With Series 13 only having 8 episodes, I don't really want the series to become too overcrowded because, as I mentioned in another of my videos, Series 13 will most likely have 4 storylines to cover. We're going to have more backstory on Yaz, confirmed by Mandip Gill. We've got the introduction of Dan, played by John Bishop, and possibly more backstory on his character. Then we've got a possible continuation of The Timeless Child, and if the rumours are true, we're probably going to have to deal with Jodie leaving as the Doctor as a possible storyline. But I'm fairly certain Chris Chibnall is going to save that for a possible festive special, so I think that would be okay. It would make Series 13 a little less crowded, but we'll just have to wait and see on that point. Okay, number 2. Take advantage of a shorter season. This is the point I made in one of my previous videos. A lot of shows these days have shown that they can tell a cohesive and well-structured story and give every character something to do within a short span of 8 episodes. A lot of TV shows like The Boys and The Mandalorian have done this with their seasons, and that's something I'd expect to see with Doctor Who, and whether Chibnall will take advantage of this as well does remain to be seen. And it's definitely something I'd like to see. As someone who's a big fan of The Boys, I can definitely see how they structure their stories within 8 episodes. They give every character something to do. They can switch to all the characters from the Seven to the members of the Boys as well. And there's always a ton of storylines. You've got the Seven, Homelander, Huey's story, Billy Butcher and his backstory. There's a lot of storylines within Series 1 alone, and if Chris Chibnall could balance that in the same way, then I think that would be pretty cool. And again, whether he takes this on board remains to be seen. Okay, number 3. Don't include any two-parters. Now, to some degree, this is going to be a bit controversial. Two-part stories are always a staple in Doctor Who, whether it's for the finale or for a festive special. Looking at you, End of Time. Anyway, because of Series 13 having a shorter span of episodes, I wouldn't expect any 2 or even 3-part stories because it could possibly make the season shorter story-wise. If we were getting just one story over 2 episodes, then that means we're only getting half of a story almost, in relation to how many episodes we're actually getting. If we're getting 4 2-part stories, that's going to take up the entire season. So I wouldn't expect any 2-part stories in Series 13. Hopefully Series 14, if it does end up happening, depending on how the show's going to go, I would expect Series 14 to return to a basic episode length of maybe 13 episodes, hopefully, or maybe at least 10 or 12. Okay. Number 4. Focus on the companions. The companions of Doctor Who have been somewhat hit or miss in recent years, with Bill in Series 10 and more recently Ryan and Graham in the Chibnall era, because while I certainly enjoyed their characters, Bradley Walsh is an extremely enjoyable person. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the Chase, but he is pretty funny. And because we're getting a new companion in the series, that being John Bishop's character Dan, I'd like to see some focus shifted over to this new character, and Yaz as well, because we're apparently going to be getting more backstory on her. I would like to see some focus shifted over to Yaz and Dan, because I don't really want Series 13 to just solely focus on the Doctor, and I hope that's something Chibnall can take on board as well, because if the rating figures for Series 11, 12 and the other specials are anything to go by, Chibnall really needs to man up. Okay, number 5. Memorable villains. Doctor Who has a great rogues gallery with villains like the Daleks, Cybermen, the Master. I mean, Doctor Who has so many iconic villains that have been implemented into pop culture, and Series 11 didn't have the best track record with villains. There was the Pating, Kablam, and Spiders. Look, I'm going to be honest, Series 11 was so boring, I barely watched any episodes. I got turned off by the first episode alone. I mean, I didn't really like the general look that Chibnall was going for, especially with the new TARDIS interior. I wasn't really too keen on it anyway. Anyway, if Chris Chibnall wants to get back viewing figures, then bring back some classic Who villains. One popular choice for me would be the Sea Devils, since they haven't really been seen since the 70s, during the Third Doctor's era. And as far as my classic Who knowledge goes back, that story did include the Master. With Sontarans and Weeping Angels making a comeback this series, thanks to some set photos, I think that's a step in the right direction. And if there are any villains you'd like to see in Series 13, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your suggestions. References to before Chibnall took the reins. So, before Chris Chibnall became the head of Doctor Who in a sense, the Whoniverse was arguably a better place. The golden era of Doctor Who for many Whovians, myself included, is when Russell T Davies was running the show. He had so many perfect characters, companions and the Doctor alone. He made the Doctor extremely likeable, and he even maintained continuity. If not for Russell T Davies, we wouldn't have gotten shows like Torchwood or the Sarah Jane Adventures. I mean, spin-offs like that are what really maintained the Doctor Who universe. It expanded the entire world. And yes, I know there were shows like K9 and Company and Class, but let's just forget about those for a minute. I mean, the Russell T Davies era alone introduced so many beloved characters such as Rose, Martha, and, most importantly I should add, the 10th Doctor, the most popular incarnation of the character, I might add as well. I think that referencing events from other seasons before Chibnall would be very cool as well. And one right step in the direction was Revolution of the Daleks, where Captain Jack actually referenced Rose Tyler, and the events of, I think, Doomsday? I think he referenced those events. And I, for one, would love to see some pre-Chibnall characters turn up. I mean, not for the whole series, of course, because that would make things insanely crowded, but maybe a cameo or maybe a small role for a pre-Chibnall character would be interesting. There were apparently rumours of Catherine Tate being spotted on set as Donna Noble. While I would love to see that, I'm not really sure if it would work continuity-wise, because Donna's memories were kind of erased. So I'm not really too sure if that would actually work in a sense. But still, if Chibnall is planning on bringing back Donna Noble for maybe a cameo, that would be okay. Okay, that does it for this video. If you did enjoy, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and keep up to date on my videos. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.